Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Intimacy Lab. You know, I often say that relationships speak a language that is not made of words, but of glances, gestures, pauses, and the small invitations that many of us fail to notice. Have you ever sat across from a woman and felt that something was happening between you? A flicker of warmth in her eyes, a softness in her voice, a way she lingered just a second longer when she laughed at your joke, but she never said it. She'll never say it outright, of course. The truth is, women rarely verbalize their desire in explicit ways. Instead, it shows up in subtle signs that speak volumes if you know how to listen, how to feel, how to attune yourself to the space between you. And yet so many men miss these signs, not because they aren't intelligent or sensitive, but because no one has ever taught them how to recognize this particular language. Today, we're going to decode it together. We'll explore 11 powerful signs that reveal when a woman is drawn to you, even when her words stay quiet, because what matters isn't what she says, it's what she doesn't say, and the way her body, her eyes, her silences confess what she's feeling inside. So, let's begin. Let's lean in close, listen carefully, and understand the beautiful and mysterious ways a woman communicates desire without ever saying a word. So let's settle into this space together. You're sitting with a woman, maybe it's someone you've known for a while, maybe it's new, and you can't help but wonder, does she like me? You've felt the energy shift. Something feels almost magnetic, yet fleeting, but how do you know it's real? How do you know it's not just your mind playing tricks on you? The truth is, attraction often lives in the subtleties, and women, perhaps more than anyone else, have been taught by culture to express desire carefully, almost invisibly. Many women carry the stories of generations where directness might have seemed too forward, too vulnerable, too risky. So instead of words, their liking shows up in small invitations, moments that feel light but are deeply significant if you understand them. One of the first signs, and perhaps one of the most beautiful, is eye contact that lingers just a bit longer than necessary. Not just looking at you, but really seeing you. Her gaze softens around you. You feel it, this tender focus that suggests she's not just observing but connecting. Her pupils may dilate slightly, her eyes may seem warmer, and you'll notice that when you speak, she's listening with her whole face, her whole body leaning toward you, even if just subtly. A woman's eyes are often the first doorway into her emotional truth. She may quickly look away if she feels nervous, but she will keep returning her gaze to you, almost like a dance look, retreat, look again. That's her way of showing you that she's engaged, that her attention is on you, and that you are, for that moment, the center of her world. But it's not just the eyes, is it? A woman who is interested will orient her entire body toward you, even without realizing it. This is another powerful but silent sign. The way her feet point, the angle of her knees, how her shoulders are turned slightly in your direction, these are all cues that she is opening herself up to you energetically. This is not something she thinks about consciously, it's instinctual. When we are drawn to someone, our bodies naturally orient toward them. And then, of course, there is her laughter, how she reacts when you speak, especially when you're not even that funny. You've probably experienced this before, but maybe brushed it off. She laughs generously, easily, almost delightedly at your stories, your jokes, your musings. But what's really happening beneath that laughter is intimacy. It's her way of showing openness, of lowering the walls, of inviting closeness without words. Have you ever noticed how a woman may laugh and gently touch your arm at the same time? That fleeting but deliberate touch, it's electric. It carries more than just casual affection, it is permission, it is a signal. When she finds ways to touch you lightly, maybe brushing imaginary lint off your shirt, maybe playfully nudging you when you make a remark, these are all signs that she wants physical closeness with you, but is still holding the mystery, still leaving space for you to recognize it and step toward her. These signs, the lingering eye contact, the open body language, the effortless laughter, the soft touches, they may seem small on their own, but together they create a language that says far more than words ever could. Women don't just reveal their feelings in declarations or confessions. They show it in these precious fragments of interaction, in how safe and alive they feel in your presence. And yet, I know many men hesitate at this point. You see these moments, but you doubt them. You ask yourself, is this just kindness? Is she being polite? Am I imagining it? It's okay to doubt, because doubt protects us from misreading signals, but also, it's important to trust what you feel in these interactions. When a woman likes you, the energy between you will feel different. You'll notice she pays attention not just to your words, but to your mood, your comfort, your energy. She will mirror you, sometimes without realizing it. If you lean in, she may lean in too. If you cross your legs, hers might soon cross as well. This unconscious mirroring is a powerful cue that she feels connected, attuned, and subtly synchronized with you. And there's another delicate sign that's worth noticing: when she shares something personal, something tender, something vulnerable. Maybe it's a story from childhood, or a hope, or a disappointment she rarely speaks of. When a woman begins to open the door to her inner world, even slightly, she's telling you she trusts you enough to let you in. She doesn't say, "I like you." Instead, she shows it by revealing something that matters to her. Vulnerability is the most intimate language there is. And when you're present enough to notice, you begin to realize that these disclosures aren't casual. They are small gifts, invitations into her emotional world. So as we begin to understand these signs, ask yourself, can you slow down enough to see them? Can you drop your need for certainty and instead tune into the energy she's offering, the softness in her gaze, the openness of her body, the warmth in her laughter, the gentle touch that seems almost accidental but isn't, because this is where intimacy begins, in recognizing and honoring these unsaid moments. And as you hold this awareness, allow yourself to feel that you are being invited into something delicate, something beautiful. She may never say it outright, but in these small gestures she is speaking to you, clearly, authentically, even if it's unspoken. And as you reflect on those subtle cues, her gaze that lingers, her laughter that feels just a little freer in your presence, the way her body turns naturally toward you, you begin to realize that these signs are not accidental. They are fragments of an unspoken dialogue, a choreography between attraction and restraint, desire and caution. But there is more, because sometimes it's what she doesn't do that speaks the loudest. Imagine you're in a room full of people. The energy is buzzing, voices overlap, and yet somehow her attention returns to you again and again. Even when she's speaking with someone else, there's this almost invisible thread. She glances at you across the room. She laughs a little louder when you're nearby. She orbits closer when the moment allows. These small gravitational pulls suggest something deeper at work, something beyond politeness. And then there's proximity, how close she allows herself to be to you physically. When a woman likes you, she will intuitively close the distance. She may sit just a little closer than necessary, lean in when you speak, or stand near enough that you can sense her presence even without touching. Proximity is an ancient, primal indicator of comfort and desire. When a woman feels safe and interested, her body naturally seeks closeness. When she does not, she creates space. Have you noticed how sometimes during a conversation she might adjust her position almost imperceptibly to move nearer to you? It's rarely overt. It may be as simple as a shift in her seat or a subtle turn of her torso that brings her into your space. These are the moments when her body is speaking its own language, when her actions are revealing her openness far more honestly than words ever could. And let's talk about another beautiful clue: responsiveness. When she likes you, she won't just listen, she will respond in ways that reflect attentiveness. She may ask thoughtful follow-up questions, remember things you said days or weeks earlier, or reference your preferences or stories in conversation. This attentiveness is a deeply human gesture. It's not performance, it's the result of genuine interest. When we are drawn to someone, we track their words, their stories, their moods because they matter to us. A woman who is interested will remember the way you like your coffee, the detail you shared about your childhood, or the song you said you loved last week. She holds these fragments because they help her feel closer, because your inner world is becoming part of her attention. And then, sometimes, it's in the way she teases. Playfulness is a profound signal of attraction. When a woman likes you, she might tease you gently, challenge you playfully, or find humor in the smallest exchanges between you. It's her way of creating intimacy through lightness, of testing the space between you to see how it feels, of inviting you into a rhythm where closeness and flirtation intertwine. Her teasing isn't mocking or dismissive. It has a warmth, a sparkle, an edge of vulnerability because teasing requires risk. It's a bid for connection disguised as humor. If she feels safe enough to engage with you in this way, it's a signal, one of openness, of interest, of desire dressed in levity. And still, even more subtle signs await the attuned observer. Think about how a woman manages her own appearance when she knows she will see you. You might not notice it consciously, but if you pay attention, you may see that she has put particular care into the way she looks on days you meet. She chooses a detail that catches the eye, a favorite dress, a particular lipstick, a hint of fragrance, and though she may not say anything about it, this extra attention to detail is often a quiet offering of admiration. Women don't prepare themselves for every man equally. When she takes time to look her best around you, when there is an intentionality about her presence, it's a gesture of respect and interest. It's as if she's saying, I value this encounter enough to bring the best version of myself to it. And sometimes she mirrors your emotional state. If you share a story that moves you, she becomes tender. If you are joyful, she laughs more easily. If you speak about something difficult, she becomes quiet and present. This attunement is another layer of the silent conversation. She is with you emotionally as well as physically. That mirroring isn't just empathy, it's emotional synchrony. You may not always catch these cues immediately. Attraction is often revealed through patterns rather than single events. But when you begin to notice these small signs gathering around your interactions, her nearness, her gaze, her playfulness, her attentiveness, you realize that she has been communicating with you all along, just not in the way you might have expected. And while it's tempting to look for certainty, to wait for a declaration, a confession, intimacy rarely arrives so clearly packaged. Instead, it unfolds in these delicate exchanges, in these moments where her presence says, I am here with you, I am noticing you, I am drawn to this connection. These signs also offer you something profound, an invitation to slow down. When you stop rushing towards certainty, when you allow yourself to become a student of this silent dialogue, you step into a different quality of connection, one that is richer, more intimate, more human. And so as we continue this exploration, ask yourself, can you allow your attention to widen? Can you become more sensitive to the small ways she might be saying yes to your presence? Because when you learn to listen in this way, you not only understand her more deeply, you become more present, more grounded, and more capable of creating genuine intimacy. In that space between what she says and what she shows, there is so much to discover. So here you are, starting to notice that it's in these subtle gestures where a woman's true feelings often lie. The glance that lingers, the way she positions her body, the playful teasing, the small ways she shows she remembers what you love, these are not isolated behaviors. They weave together into a rich tapestry of communication that requires your full attention, your sensitivity, your willingness to feel rather than merely analyze. And here's something even more nuanced. When a woman likes you, she will often find ways to create shared moments. She may suggest doing something together, going to a cafe she mentioned in passing, inviting you to join her in an experience that matters to her. She might not frame it as a date or an overt declaration of interest, but what she's really doing is opening the door for more connection. These invitations can feel casual on the surface. Oh, we should check out that new exhibit, or let's grab a drink sometime after work, but underneath they carry significance. She's choosing to spend time with you, to build memories, to share space. This is her way of letting you into her world gently, while allowing the relationship to unfold naturally. And as you spend that time together, you may notice that she begins to disclose not just facts, but feelings. When a woman likes you, her conversations shift from logistics or surface-level topics to more emotionally resonant ones. She may talk about her dreams, her family, her disappointments, her hopes. These disclosures are not random. They are trust-building moments. Every time she shares something personal, she is offering you a key to understanding her more deeply. You may also find that when you share something vulnerable, she listens with an attentiveness that feels different. She isn't just hearing your words, she's holding them. Her presence becomes an emotional container for your experience, a place where you feel heard, seen, understood. This is her way of saying, I care, without ever saying those words explicitly. There's something else, too, that often goes unnoticed, how she adjusts her rhythms to match yours. It could be as simple as walking alongside you at your pace, mirroring your gestures, or aligning her speech patterns with yours. This unconscious synchronization is a beautiful, subtle sign of emotional alignment and attraction. When two people are attuned, their bodies and rhythms naturally harmonize. And then there's the way she creates emotional safety for you, even in small ways. Perhaps she checks in with you when you seem stressed, or she offers you space to express yourself without judgment. A woman who likes you will want to nurture your emotional comfort, sometimes even before she acknowledges her own feelings outright. Her empathy becomes a bridge, allowing intimacy to flow without needing formal declarations. One of the most tender signs that she likes you, and a very human one, is nervousness. If you pay close attention, you might see how sometimes she becomes a little more self-conscious around you. She might fix her hair unnecessarily, adjust her clothing, play with jewelry, or touch her face more frequently when you're near. These small, fidgety behaviors are often driven by a desire to make a good impression, to appear her best self in your presence. It's an endearing vulnerability, and, if you notice it, one of the most honest signs that she feels something for you. Her voice may soften, too, when speaking to you directly. Her tone may become more melodic, more inviting, warmer than it is when she speaks with others. Or perhaps her text messages carry a different tone than before, a lightness, a quick response time, playful emojis that suggest warmth and connection. Even in silence, when two people are drawn to each other, something profound happens. The silence itself feels different. It is not awkward or uncomfortable. It's filled with presence, with a sense that words are not always needed to feel connected. When a woman likes you, she can sit in that silence with you and still feel close, still feel as though something important is being shared without being spoken. But you must remember, this language is delicate, layered, and deeply individual. Every woman expresses her affection differently, colored by her history, her personality, her comfort levels, and her culture. Some women may be bold and open, while others are reserved and cautious. What matters most is not that you memorize a checklist of behaviors, but that you develop your capacity for attunement, the ability to sense what is happening beneath the surface. It's this sensitivity that allows you to read these signs not as manipulations or tests, but as invitations to intimacy, as expressions of humanity and longing. Women want to feel seen deeply, truly seen, and when you can meet her on that level, when you can match her openness with your own, you create the conditions for genuine connection to flourish. And maybe as you're listening now, you're realizing that this isn't just about understanding whether she likes you or not. It's about cultivating a way of being present, attentive, curious, and willing to notice the quiet moments that define intimacy. Because in this fast-paced, distracted world, where so many interactions are rushed or transactional, to pause and truly see another person is a rare and beautiful act. So even as you tune into these signs, her proximity, her invitations to shared moments, her disclosures, her nervousness, her mirroring, her quiet empathy, know that these are not just clues for decoding attraction, they are the fabric of relationship itself. And your ability to honor them, to reciprocate them, to show that you are also willing to be present and attentive, that is what transforms a fleeting moment of attraction into something much deeper. And so as you listen closely, you might begin to feel that all these small, quiet signs are not simply clues to a mystery, but invitations to connection, to mutual presence, to something tender and real, because when a woman likes you, she is not necessarily seeking a grand gesture in return. Often she simply wants you to notice. To notice her, to meet her attention with your attention, her warmth with your warmth, her subtle vulnerability with your sensitivity. Attraction, at its most honest, is a dance, not a conquest. It's a rhythm of approach and retreat, openness and restraint, where both partners attune themselves not only to what is said, but to what is felt. And when you cultivate this awareness, you become someone she can relax with, someone she can trust, someone who listens not just to her words, but to her being. And there's a sign even more delicate than any we've talked about so far, her openness to physical closeness in ways that seem casual, but hold significance. If you're walking together, she might allow your hands to brush. If you lean in to whisper something, she stays close, she doesn't pull away. If you hug, she may hold that embrace just a breath longer than necessary, and in that extra moment, there's so much being said without words. Touch is one of the oldest languages of affection and desire. When a woman allows proximity, when she invites it even subtly, she is showing comfort, trust, and often deeper interest. And it's in the gentlest, most unspoken touches that she expresses feelings she may never verbalize. You may also sense that she begins to prioritize you in subtle but telling ways. Perhaps she adjusts her plans to accommodate time with you. She remembers details you thought she might forget. She follows up on something you mentioned in passing, maybe a project at work or a personal struggle. When a woman invests her attention and her time into your life, when she makes small sacrifices or shows thoughtfulness, that is often her way of saying, "You matter to me." But all of this is delicate because women often navigate a world where they are conditioned to be careful about expressing desire too openly, too soon. She may fear being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. So rather than telling you outright that she likes you, she'll show you in ways that feel safer, that allow her to retain her dignity while still inviting you closer. And there's beauty in that subtlety. There's an invitation here not just to decode her, but to honor her care, to respect the tender risk she is taking every time she moves toward you in these quiet ways. You may also notice that when she likes you, she becomes protective of the space you share together. She gives that space priority, she nurtures it gently. For instance, when you are in conversation, she may become deeply present, setting aside her phone, turning her attention fully toward you, creating a little bubble in which only the two of you exist. That presence, that choosing to be fully there, this is no small thing in our distracted, hurried world. When a woman gives you her attention like this, when she listens closely, laughs wholeheartedly, responds thoughtfully, that is a sign of affection, of interest, and of desire that is far more powerful than mere words. Sometimes it's even in the way she speaks about the future, not necessarily proposing anything overt, but weaving you into her future imaginings. Perhaps she mentions how much fun it would be to travel somewhere, and imagines you there with her. Or she shares a dream, a project, a goal, and speaks of we, and not just I. These subtle inclusions are her way of envisioning possibilities together. She may not consciously frame it that way, but that's what it is, a small rehearsal for intimacy, a way to gauge whether you're willing to imagine us, too. In all of these moments, her touch, her attentiveness, her invitations, her mirroring, her nervousness, her vulnerability, they invite you to slow down, to be present, to meet her where she is. Because if you rush ahead, if you miss these cues, if you interpret her subtle gestures as mere friendliness or politeness, you might overlook a beautiful connection blossoming quietly before you. This is why understanding these signs isn't about manipulation or tactics. It's about becoming more present to the delicate nature of human connection itself. It's about learning to feel rather than simply analyze, about trusting the quiet wisdom of your own sensitivity. And of course, there is always an important caveat here: consent, respect, sensitivity to context. Not every warm interaction signals romantic interest. Not every moment of kindness is attraction. You must always read these signs as invitations, not guarantees, and you must always respect boundaries, emotional as well as physical. But when these signs gather, when you notice the lingering glances, the closeness, the laughter that sparkles just a little brighter in your presence, the playful teasing, the gentle mirroring, thoughtful attention, when they form a pattern, a rhythm, a feeling, then you can begin to trust that something is being offered. Quietly, gently, without words, but with so much meaning. And that is the art of relationship, to recognize when something tender is being extended toward you, and to respond not with haste, but with curiosity, presence, and respect. So as you hold this awareness, know that this sensitivity is your superpower, not just in love, but in every meaningful relationship in your life. It allows you to read what others feel but do not say. It makes you someone who is not only attractive but trustworthy, someone who honors the fragile beauty of human connection. And this is where attraction begins to deepen into intimacy. When you can see her subtle invitations, when you can respond with care, when you show that you are listening to all the ways she is communicating without speaking, that is when a connection becomes real, becomes human, becomes mutual. And so we arrive at this tender space, this meeting point between what is said and what is felt, where two people attune themselves not only through conversation, but through observation, presence, and emotional awareness. If you've been listening carefully, and I sense that you have, you're beginning to realize that a woman who likes you is offering far more than polite smiles or casual conversation. She is, through her attention, her small gestures, and her emotional resonance, extending an invitation. Will you see me? Will you meet me here, in this delicate space where affection lives quietly? And now there is one more layer to explore: comfort. When a woman likes you, she will slowly allow you to see her in her unguarded moments. Perhaps at first she was careful to present her most polished self, her best look, her most graceful demeanor, but gradually she begins to relax into your presence. Her guard softens, she may stop worrying whether she's being perfect. She lets herself laugh fully, cry openly, share the moments when she feels insecure or tired. This comfort is profound. It means she feels safe with you, not only to flirt or impress, but to be herself. She may start sending you messages late at night when her thoughts are unfiltered, or invite you into her quiet routines, a walk she takes to clear her mind, a coffee shop where she likes to read alone, a favorite meal she prepares when she's feeling vulnerable. These invitations into her private, ordinary world are some of the strongest signs of all. Because when a woman likes you, what she's ultimately offering is herself, as she truly is, not only the carefully curated version, but the real, human, beautifully imperfect version. And here is where your role becomes so important, to honor that vulnerability, to hold it gently, to respond with a presence that reassures rather than pressures. A woman who begins to reveal herself to you in these ways is saying, I trust you with more than just my attraction. I trust you with my authenticity. In these moments, she may also show curiosity about your interior life, not just your job, your hobbies, or your opinions, but your fears, your hopes, your insecurities. She may ask about your past, your family, your experiences with love and heartbreak. And her questions may feel different than ordinary small talk. They will have an emotional texture, an intention that invites you to drop your guard as well. This mutual unveiling, hers and yours, is where intimacy deepens, because attraction can spark quickly, but true connection is built when both people feel safe enough to be seen as they are. And even when words fail, she may stay near. When a woman likes you, her presence becomes an offering in itself. She may not know how to express everything she feels, but she will want to remain close, to linger, to savor the atmosphere between you. Her silence may feel full, not empty, comforting, not awkward. It's a shared quiet where your connection no longer depends on conversation, but on simple, mutual presence. You may also find that she notices small details about you, your routines, your habits, the way you speak or gesture, and reflects them back with affection. Perhaps she jokes about your favorite drink, your quirky phrases, your unique laugh. This gentle teasing is another way she shows that she's paying attention, that you are significant enough for her to notice and remember. And all of these signs, from her physical proximity to her laughter, from her vulnerability to her attentiveness, from her playfulness to her comfort, they all circle back to one profound truth. A woman who likes you is inviting you into an experience of connection that is human, emotional, relational. She's not giving you a script to follow or a checklist to tick off. She's offering you her presence, her attention, her care, her curiosity. But the most important part of all of this is not simply to recognize these signs, it's to respond with your own attentiveness. When you see her leaning in, do you lean in too? When she opens up about her insecurities, do you share your own? When she makes time for you, do you respect and appreciate that time? Because intimacy, as we've explored together today, is not about decoding or strategizing. It's about showing up fully, honestly, vulnerably. So if you're noticing these signs, and if you feel that same spark, that same draw, then let yourself respond with courage. Meet her warmth with your own warmth. Mirror her openness with your own openness. Let her know in your own quiet, authentic way that you are present, that you care, and that you value this connection she's offering. And if, in this process, you find yourself unsure, remember this. The very act of becoming more attentive, more present, more attuned will enrich all of your relationships, not just romantic ones. Learning to see and honor the subtle ways people communicate affection and interest will deepen your friendships, your family bonds, your professional relationships too. You become a better lover, a better friend, a better human being when you stop rushing to conclusions and start truly listening not just to words, but to the unspoken. So take these reflections with you into your life, carry this sensitivity into your next conversation, your next encounter. Slow down enough to notice the glance, the touch, the proximity, the laughter, the presence. Let these small gestures speak to you. And above all, remember, you don't need certainty to respond with warmth. You don't need perfect clarity to lean in, to show care, to allow intimacy to unfold at its own pace. This is the art of human connection. This is the language of desire. She may never say it outright, but in these 11 signs, in all their delicate beauty, she is telling you something profound. I see you. I like you. I am inviting you into my world. And so, my dear listener, I invite you to accept that invitation with grace, with curiosity, and with respect. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this resonated with you, if you recognize these signs, or if you've felt their absence in your own life, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story, your insight, your experience matters, and this is a space where we can explore these truths together. If you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Intimacy Lab for more conversations about love, desire, and the beautiful complexity of human relationships. Until next time, may you walk gently into your connections, may you notice what's unspoken, and may you feel the beauty of being deeply seen.